My name is Wendy, Wendy Allen. I am the owner of Wendy G Holistics, and I've been in business for about 15 years. So if I start talking fast and you can't understand me, please do let me know, and I will slow down and get excited and start talking really fast. So holistic health came into my life probably about 10 years ago. I started this adult journey as a nurse. And I worked for about 20 years from Alzheimer's up until labor and delivery. And it was an amazing experience just to understand the medical system. And at that point as well, I was also introduced to placebos. And I'm sure you guys know what placebos are, the sugar pills. And they do actually prescribe them in the hospital. There's many times that I have given placebos to a patient. And to watch that patient recover from a placebo blew my mind as a 20-year-old. Like, wow. Like, how does that happen? And why are they not giving everybody placebos? Like, really? So I did my 20 years or so in the healthcare industry, and then yoga came into my life. And when yoga came into my life, it changed everything in regards to how I see the world. And especially as my very first chakra yoga class, I felt something in my hands that I had no idea what was going on. Even to the point my teeth were vibrating and what is this? I don't understand. I had asked so many yoga instructors and they kept saying, oh, it'll come. Don't worry about it. You'll figure it out. Okay. So Reiki came into my life. And when Reiki first came into my life, which is probably 20 years ago now, it was 2006 when I finished my Reiki certifications. So 20 years ago, people would look at me like I was insane with the Reiki, truly insane. And no, that doesn't work. And it's like, well, okay. So I had young children at the time. I had 3 young boys that were playing hockey. They were hockey players. So I spent my life in the hockey arena. So as I was learning Reiki, there would be times that all of a sudden I would hear, because when it's just, I hear, I hear spirit. They would say, just ground him, because we learn how to distant heal in Reiki. So I started with one of the goalies where, at 8 years old, to keep a little goalie focused, it doesn't work all the time. And so when he would be all over the place, I did start sending him distant Reiki. Now this is just me. I didn't tell anybody else what I was doing. It was just me. Okay, little Cody, let's get you focused again. So I would send him distant Reiki, and all of a sudden I'd see him. It's like, oh, that's just funny. And I would laugh because it worked. And it didn't matter what team I worked with or any one of the kids that were on the field or on the ice, I could get them to ground again. And even when you'd see a whole team of little kids, where if one little kid is happy, they're all happy. But if you have a little kid who is miserable, oh my God, he makes everybody on the bench miserable. So to be able to just touch. When I first started learning Reiki, I wasn't a big hugger. I wasn't a big toucher of people. And one of my mentors told me that, you can pass Reiki on or just a gentle hug with just your hand. All you gotta do is touch people on the shoulder. Oh, really? And that'll work. Well, I played on a ladies soccer team, and I did it all the time. I was constantly touching them on the shoulder, because if I started hugging those ladies, they'd think I was crazy. So I played with the energy for a long time. And so I have become a Reiki, I am a master teacher. And with that, I always try to get my students, first and foremost, is to be able to feel energy. Now, everybody has energy. Every healer, every person who does healing work, works with energy. And the difference with Reiki is Reiki has, if you want to call it, little symbols, and each symbol is like a radio station. So I don't always have to use the Reiki, but if I choose to use that, like the first symbol that you learn, it's a power symbol, and it's called Choke-a-Ray. And that means put the power of the universe here. So when I'm driving down the road, I will send that symbol. And it was interesting enough, when I met my late husband, we were on the motorcycle one day and he's doing Choke-a-Ray symbols down the road. And I'm thinking, wow, where did he get that? And I asked him, he goes, oh, that just clears the road for me. I've done it my whole life. It's like, oh, that's just funny because that's Reiki. And he was already doing it because energy is energy. Now I've chosen Reiki because I have studied the craft. I have studied so many different modalities, and Reiki is a God consciousness, and it does not cause harm. And that is why I've chosen to stick with Reiki, because if you do a spell, truly, you could bind yourself for lifetimes if you believe in that. But you could also even curse yourself in your own life if you are casting spells. these books that they have in stores for young girls, that's not good stuff at all, because those young girls, not knowing, are playing with that energy and binding themselves to maybe a person, depending on what they're doing with that energy. So I'm gonna have all you guys put your feet on the floor. And how many of you actually felt your own energy? Oh, perfect. So let's make a beautiful healing bubble then. So if we all just take our hands, and you find that little tingle or the heat or whatever it is, and if you don't feel anything, don't worry about it. Close your eyes or keep them open and just imagine that there's something there. Now, some people can actually see it. You might see your color, and that's cool. So if you feel any kind of sensation, open your hands a little bit and close them. But don't let them touch, because as soon as you touch, that's just going to change the sensation for you. The energy doesn't go anywhere. It's just that you're not as aware of it. So you can mold it like a snowball. So what you're feeling is your energy. That's you. It's nobody else in this room. So with that little energy ball, if we were to take our hands, all of us, and just put it up and allow ourselves to share it with the universe, the energy of the room, and just set the intention just for peace and love in your own life. But even just for this little while, as we talk about energy and play with it, it's a beautiful thing to do. So just let your hands relax and allow the energy to continue to come in, because now that
Don't talk while this truck runs.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I mean,
that's okay.
I can close doors, but it doesn't
We
really
get too
help.
hot, that's fine. So as like being in here with all this energy, now we can control this. And in our lives, when we wake up in the morning, like how many of you wake up and you're in a good mood, then all of a sudden something changes and you're not sure what it is? When those kind of things happen, oftentimes because our aura is 30 feet big. So we're as big as this room, more or less, individually. When you add all of us together, it multiplies that by 10. So you think of all the energy that positive people can emit or transmute in the world. Like as we walk down the road every day and we have that love in our hearts, we can clean up the energy of the road. And that's what we do as light workers. That's what we do as beings of light. And maybe perhaps that is our whole purpose of being here, especially in Vilcabamba. There are just an amazing amount of light workers in this town. Why are we holding this light? What are we holding it for? And we are here as earth angels, whatever you want to call us, to be able to clean the energies. When we see the negativity, just to be able to walk through. You guys walk lots, so I know you guys are doing a lot of cleaning. When I see you guys walking, it's like, oh yeah. Because when two or more are gathered in my name, that is a whole religious thing. But when we are gathered together, we can change the world and we can make miracles happen. And easy enough, the other day I had a young lady who was sending something to the States for me in Canada Post Sunstrike or whatever. And we planned it all out to be there for my daughter-in-law's birthday. 6 weeks later, it showed up 2 days before her birthday cycle. And all she said was, how did that happen? It's like, oh, we're both Reiki people. I put it out there, your energy followed it, and it was going to be perfect because we did it together. Even though sometimes we don't understand what we're doing, we are. And so part of the talk today is really truly about keeping our vibration up. Whether you're doing Reiki or if you're doing healing touch, it doesn't really matter. Reiki is just a different vibration frequency. You can call in all of those beautiful energies to be able to support, to heal, to ground, and just to love. And that's truly why we're here, is to love whatever's here and to appreciate what we have here. In Vilcabamba, we are so, so blessed as to being able to be here to clean up the energy that is here, because there is some toxic energy here. And I think we all have seen it, mentioned it, and we see it. And a lot of it is because of the alcohol and the drugs. And I don't mean to put anybody off by that, but alcohol is a terrible spirit poison. And as much as I love my beer every once in a while, there is truly and truly, okay, no problem. There truly and truly is a big problem with alcohol here. And most people, if you take it to that bigger level, every time that people indulge in alcohol, they bring in a spirit. And it's not just an imaginary thing. They truly, truly do bring in the spirits of alcohol. And the spirits of alcohol will, as soon as there's a hole within our aura, and that's what happens to a lot of us, especially if we're within heat, or we're within hate, or we just, in heat. But to be able to allow ourselves just to be with it all, if that makes sense. And I lost my train of thought with the whole wheat thing. That's actually very funny. Where was I?
Spirits.
Thank you. So, you see, it's the spirits that come in. And what they'll do is they will, as soon as you have a hole in your aura, as soon as people have addictions and things like that, they start talking to you. And they start telling you, oh, you know, you really shouldn't do that, or maybe you should. Go do it. Go do it. Be the rebel. Go out there and change the world, whatever you need to do. And a lot of times it's not good. Or go drink more, because, you know, maybe that girl will come to you if you drink more. You know, all those things that a spirit will do. And each one of those alcohols has their own personality. And if you've had a few drinks before, we all know that, oh yeah, they come in and it's crazy things that you do depending on the alcohol that you have. So being here as light workers, it really is for us to have compassion, because people are doing that to be able to cover their light. They're covering up their hearts and their souls because there is a pain there. And as we choose to move forward in life and to heal ourselves, we all have the ability, just like the placebo effect. We have the ability to change our life and to heal ourselves. When our body starts talking, there's a beautiful book by Louise Hay. It's called You Can Heal Your Life. And if you haven't read the book, it's an amazing story. It really is. Yeah, it is. It is here. But when you look, the best part of that book I found is the glossary that's on the inside. And when you look at that little index dictionary thing of what Louise Hay did, she actually took all those meridian points that are on an acupuncture chart, and she put it in Western words, so us as Western people can understand that our emotions block our health. So when there's a disc, like how many of you guys have seen acupuncture charts with all the little dots? Every one of those little dots is an emotion. Every one of those is a different emotion. So when you look at the world, and I'll just go with heart attacks, is when people have problems with their heart. And problems with their heart stems from not loving yourself. And that's pretty harsh, because that's really what it's all about. We have to love ourselves. If we don't love ourselves, there's no way in heck that we're ever going to love anybody else, even a child. It is about self-love. And as we walk through life with self-love, it's not an easy journey. It truly isn't, because we're human. We are spirits inside of a human body, and we are here to experience every human emotion that's out there, because we came to the earth to have an experience. We have good experiences, we have bad experiences, but every one of those experiences is going to keep us and make us who we are. We all have a different soul journey, soul path. And there's things that we've all conquered that others haven't. So when we can help them through it, and help them through it is just by having compassion sometimes and hearing them. So when our body, I'll go back to the emotions in the meridians, when our body starts talking to us, oftentimes, especially Western people, they don't listen to it. So if your feet are hurting, your hips are hurting, in that Louise Hay book, it tells you the emotion that you're blocking. And it's true. When I was running, my hips went. And for weeks and months, it took me a long time to get through that. And I was going to a massage therapist, just stripping my IT bands and getting me to run. And then somebody gave me Louise Hay's book. And when I looked at hips, it was about moving forward. It's like, oh my kids were growing up. Everything in my life was changing, and my body was telling me. And then yoga came into my life. And as yoga came in, it actually helped me to understand. Even to this day, the last couple of days I'm laughing because it's been my throat. It's like, what's up with my throat? And as I sat down with myself, it's kind of like, yeah, throat chakra. How long have you been blocking that, Wendy? And it's like, oh yeah, my whole life, because I have been a bit of a smart ass, and every time you just need to be quiet. So I have just been quiet, and I've lived here for 10 years, and I really haven't shared the knowledge that I have. And it's there. I know that I am here and I am connected. I am a medical intuitive, and it's just amazing how all of these modalities, especially Reiki, has brought me to where I am to be able to help people find themselves. And it is all about the emotions, and oftentimes it's not comfortable. Like when you have to realize what you did in the past, or even to the point where, if you look back when you were a child, how many times when you fell, you scratched your knee or hit your elbow, and some big person told you, don't cry, it didn't hurt. Well, yes, it did. and it hurted lots. And so look at how many times in our lives that we've fallen, skinned our knees, and then all of a sudden somebody says, "You're okay." No, I'm not hurt. So we block that. Those little emotions that we have blocked all of our whole lives, those are things that we're getting rid of in order to keep ourselves healthy. When you choose to, we all have chi, and the amount of chi that we have depends upon how happy you are and how much at peace you are with yourselves allows you to have a bigger amount of chi. So every practitioner that works on a person, it depends on the amount of chi. It doesn't matter. We're conduits for energy. And I can only pass on through Reiki, and all of us that do kind of energy work, we can only pass on the good stuff that we have. So if we're not healthy ourselves, we shouldn't really be working on people. And that truly, to me, that I have certificates upon certificates. I do understand, but I also do understand that it's about having the person on the table and keeping them safe so they can process. And if I can't hold space for somebody in order for them to let go, in order to, the negativity that's there, I don't have to take that on. Source takes that. I don't have to worry about it. I'm just there to say, hey, here's the good stuff. And of course, Source rewards us with that. As when I work on people, I get worked on too. I get messages, I get everything from my clients. Of course, if they're manifesting and they're doing their own thing, I don't get all that. But you know what? It's like they'll say, my guides will say, put your hands here, do this, do this. And sometimes when I do those kind of things, it's like, wow, that's pretty cool what it does. I'll see the person react. It's like, okay, thank you. And it's beautiful to be able to have that connection. We all have the ability to have connection to Source. And that is what the whole true healing is about. We just have to believe it. And yes, there's days where we live, especially in this beautiful Vilcabamba, we are tested often. Just coming down the hill, watching somebody have their dogs locked in the car, and they're out having dinner, breakfast. And so everybody that's going by, the dogs are barking. It's like, really? Why would you do that to other people? Why would you do that? But again, that's an unconscious person. They just don't realize the stress they're putting the dogs through, as well as what happened to the peace. But I walked by and I just loved the dogs as I went by, because it isn't the people we can help. Oftentimes when we look to our furry friends are trying their best to get the humans to listen. And the humans don't, because the dog's job here is only unconditional love. They're to teach us love. And when you watch what happens with the dogs in this town especially, look at how hard they work. They're working so hard to try to get the people to just, can you guys just relax, take it easy, and just be. And look into some of these dogs' eyes. Some of the homeless ones could break your heart because you can see all the love there. But they are doing such good work, and just to commend them with just a little pat on the head and tell them they're doing good work, because animals understand Reiki. And it's interesting because this morning I was sending distant Reiki around because I have friends who had birthdays. My dog would not leave me alone. She's jumping on me and it's like, I know, honey, I know. I'm just sending it, it's okay. But animals pick up the positive energy. So if you find that all of a sudden you have dogs following you, or the dogs come up to you, they're honoring you. They're honoring your light. They're honoring that they can see who you are as a human being, and you're safe. So we need them and they need us. They are an amazing, amazing creature for all of us to be able to appreciate on the planet. So the whole self-healing stuff, when we start working on ourselves, and we have to actually pay attention, we can, within minutes, we can actually stop a trend, we can break a thought, we can change our lives. We don't need to pray for 20 years. We don't need to even pray for 20 minutes. It's all here. Just like the placebo effect. We can change everything here. But if we're in our heads and we're worried about this and we're worried about that, look at how distracted we get. And we're not paying attention to anything else. The internet is so amazing at attracting us to all these different things, right? And even attracting us to go talk to AI. Do we really need to do that? I haven't done it yet, but maybe. There might be something interesting there to learn. I'm not sure. But, do I need to talk to AI? Maybe I do one day. But right now, I'm pretty happy just hanging with the people and helping people get through what they need to in this lifetime. And so if you guys watch in your own journeys, when you go to bed at night, where do your hands go? And if you look at your own sleeping habits in your own life, how many of us sleep like this, or like this, or like this? We're healing ourselves. We're using our own energy in our own hands just to be able to heal ourselves. So when we step back and look at that, look at how powerful we are. And oftentimes people, when stepping into that next phase of life, stepping into being, let's say, that positive influence on other people, could be a little unnerving. And you know what? We just have to be strong of heart, because that's where the love is. And when we can exude the love, no matter what, because oftentimes spirit tests us. And there's many times when we choose to start listening, our life flows. And as we all are on this journey of evolution of consciousness, because that's really what this is all about, is evolution of consciousness, as we step forward, our connections become stronger. And I've been on this journey for about 20 years. And when I first started, the intuition was there and it was great. Now, to me, it's insane and off the charts. I love it. And even just as far as the other day, I was bike riding with a friend, and I watched her, and my higher self said, don't do it. It was just a small little little easement to go through. My higher self said, don't do it. My ego said, oh, she did it, just go for it. Halfway through, I lost focus. I looked at something and I fell over. I was going slow enough that it was just, and when I tipped, it's like, oh, I should have listened. And how many times do we not listen to our higher selves? And more as evolution changes, like the whole planet is shifting. We are going through a place in the universe right now where our beautiful planet, who is vibrated at 7.83 hertz for a long, long time, is now jumping up to 100 every once in a while. So when the planet is spiking like that, it's shifting our energy. It's taking our energy and trying to expand us, to make us become more conscious. So the sun and the planet and all the energies upon it are trying to get us to become more conscious. And more conscious is paying attention to everything and everybody. And it gets easier, it really does. It actually becomes quite funny sometimes, because oftentimes when I see things happen, it's like, oh, I swear they told me that was going to happen. And then when it happens, it's like, oh, that's just funny. Because again, if I were to get lost in it and think, oh my God, they told me that would happen, and now, oh my God. But no, Spirit is warning us. They're giving us hints all the time. Think of the songs that come to you when you have your music on random play. Have you ever just sat and listened to what they're telling you? I mean, one day I realized I had all dead guys. It was all dead musicians singing. It's like, how does that work? But again, that's a message. And it's about us and me paying attention to. It was like after 4 or 5 songs, I realized I got to go back and look. Are these guys all really dead? Oh, and to me, that's funny. Are they haunting me? No, they're talking to me. We all have spirits that talk to us. And it's about whether we choose to listen. Are we comfortable with that? And we have to be. We are all, like all of us here, are old enough. We're all old enough. And we are way showers. We are here for a divine purpose. We came to this planet to help, and I want to say the poor humans, but if you look at a lot of our younger people, our 20 to 30-year-olds, even the 40-year-olds, they're a little bit lost sometimes when it comes to money versus what's real in life. And because we're a different generation. We've come here to be the way showers, to hold the path for them. Like I oftentimes tell my young friends that are just starting to wake up and become conscious, I have my toe here. If you need me, I'm here. And if not, it's all good. I'm good. And a friend of my daughter-in-law just put me in this group with all these 20-year-olds. And I know I'm there as the woman, the wise woman. I'm the old lady in the group there. But it's like, oh my gosh, girls, I'm so happy that you are pushing yourselves. But oh my gosh, you got all these little things that are in your way. But it is just being there to hold the space for them. And know that you guys are there for that. Sometimes we have to sit with those young people and let them go, even though their ideals might be a little out to lunch. But we were young ones too, and we had to learn all those lessons and help them through it when you can. Even when you see, I had a friend who wanted to have a baby here not too long, a year ago, and I kept seeing this whole journey, like what I could see, it was like it was a disaster. But she was good, and so was her partner, and I'm like, okay, I can be good with you guys. It turned out to be a disaster. I saw it, but I couldn't say that to them. Why can't I say that? Just because I see it, they still have to have their experience. It wasn't up to me to interfere with the experience that those two souls needed to have. So that's what it is by holding space. When you see that the disaster's getting ready to happen, okay, I can be here to pick up the pieces. And sometimes that's why, as elders, that's why we're here, is to help those young people get along. And then we get to the babies and the young ones. Whenever you guys get a chance, look into the eyes of those beautiful souls. There is a magic in babies' eyes. And especially now, we have some amazing new souls that have come in, especially into Vilcabamba. Oh my gosh, they're just amazing. They are our future. And those little babies, they're already awake. They already know what's going on, and they're already telepathic. So if any of you are playing with telepathy and you have young ones in your life, talk to them. And it could be as simple when you're working with telepathy, and telepathy is a part of healing. There's often times where I catch myself talking to people and I know who I'm talking to. And then after I'm done, it's like, wow, that was pretty cool. It's kind of like a counseling session I just had in my head. And you know what? I know how real that is, because when it does happen, there's a change on the other side, even though that I didn't initiate it, or maybe I did initiate it. But when I'm talking to somebody, all of a sudden it's like, okay, let's just keep going with that. And then when I see that person again, I am totally amazed at how different the connection is. And it's because perhaps we healed something. And we can. How many times have you had an argument with somebody and then in your head you thought about that argument for days? And you're still working on it there. And so all this energy connection is how we heal, is understanding that sometimes that we are talking to other spirits. No, we're not crazy. We are a spirit inside this meat suit. And we're going to go back into that spirit. And one day perhaps we can be the meat suit and the spirit at the same time. Perhaps. And maybe we already are, we're just not conscious of it. And it is about understanding, at night, what are you doing? What are we all doing at night? Are we battling? Are we battling the light versus dark? Or are we healing?
Talk a little bit louder.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
At night, when we're sleeping, pay attention. Are you battling darkness? Because we often do that in our sleep. Or are you healing yourself? Because we have the ability, there are med beds up there. There's med beds everywhere. And if we are, and I'm going to go to the if we truly are interplanetary, interdimensional beings, we can go up to the med beds to heal ourselves. And I recently heard this, and it's like, okay, I'm going to try this. Well, I know something's happening when I'm sleeping so sound. I wake up and it's like I was in a coma. And it's been like that for about a week. And I heard this on the internet. It's like, okay, I'm going to try just to see what happens. So perhaps they are doing that. Is that real? Or is it just me? I don't know. And I can't prove it either way. But there is something to it. So we can heal ourselves. We just have to ask and pay attention to what our body is telling us. And yeah, just go from there. So before I go any further, any questions?
How far can Reiki energy transfer
Throughout the world.
for healing?
Anywhere. In Reiki, we learn distant healing. And it's one of the very first levels that you work. And with the distant healing, it really truly reminds me of a FedEx envelope. And that's how I choose to do distant healing. I imagine I have a FedEx envelope in front of me. And I put either Reiki symbols in there, I put peace signs, I put smiley faces, whatever I need to. And when I'm sending that, I have the choice of how long I wish to send it for. And I can send it across the world. It's an amazing thing to do. Like I recently taught a lady Reiki, and we did it online, and she was having a hard time with the attunement. So I had sent her distant Reiki, and you know what? She called and thanked me. She said, that was amazing. I haven't been able to sleep for a couple days. Now I've been able to sleep. So when I send it across the world to other places, I'm still, after 20 years, amazed. So because everything's happening all at the same time. So past, present, and future is all here at the same time. So we can send Reiki to our own distant past. And when we do that, it will change the outcome of things, of our own life. Not for anybody else. It only changes for ourselves. As an example, when I was learning Reiki, I had learned that we could send Reiki back to the past to heal a past life thing or past something in our life. And I had this woman who I felt that I was just learning everything. And I felt that animosity, I could just feel it from her. And so in my mind, I was like, okay, maybe I should just send Reiki to the past to heal whatever is between me and her. And then as you meditate and things like that happened, I realized that I was sending it back to the fairy realm. I know that sounds really crazy and weird, but I kept doing it. I kept sending it back to the fairy realm. And then these two little figurines showed up in my life. There's a little girl that was where I was at. And it was Cinderella and Snow White. So these little Disney figurines, right? And for a year, they sat on the counter, right? And so I'm sending the Reiki back and I'm Reiki back. And this lady, every time I'd see her, it was getting better. Like we could actually be in the same room without wanting to scratch each other's eyes out. And it's like, oh, this is good. So after about a year or so, we were in a situation and she ended up taking something of mine and sharing my bottle of wine with everybody else. And then she put it back on my lawn chair and I just said, that's mine. Like, why did you do that? Oh, it's okay. And it's like, oh, I fixed me, but I couldn't fix her. So she never really changed. It was just she never changed. I was able to move forward with the whole jealousy thing and all that stuff that happened. So to be able to even realize that, oh my gosh, and I had, even on the way through all that, I had a Native woman who was in my studio, and where I lived, it was Canada, so my crystals would freeze and then warm up. So I had little pieces of crystals all over the floor. And she would pick them up and we'd stick them in this little basket. And one day she came and she says, oh my gosh, look at that. The yellow fairy the blue fairy beat the heck out of the yellow fairy. And I looked and there was way more blue crystals than yellow crystals. And I just kind of laughed, okay, Lori. Native people have a beautiful sight. So she could see a whole bunch of different things that just wasn't me, right? So going back to the Cinderella and the Snow White, probably about a year later, I look at those two figurines and I figured it out. They were wearing the wrong dresses. That's truly what it was, and I couldn't figure it out. But the whole representation was me and the other woman. We had the wrong dresses on in the situation. I had the Snow White dress, but I should have had the Cinderella dress. And truly, and when I realized that, the situation was over. The whole thing fell apart. And I was done with that whole situation. It was like, wow, look at that. I was in the wrong role. And that's really what it was. I was just being, this person wanted me here. That's not who I was. So even the universe was talking through a child who kept putting these little figurines on. I don't get it. But the universe is constantly talking to all of us to be able to keep us on track, to be able to help us to become more conscious, because that is why we're on this planet. Is there another question? Okay, so with self-healing, I'll give you guys just some beautiful examples on what you can do to be able to keep yourselves healthy. In the evenings when you're ready, start with your hands, and the next thing that you do once you get that tingle or that heat in your hands, take your socks off and pull your feet up in your lap. Whether you have to sit on the floor, whether you have to prop them up, but bring your feet up into your hands. Your feet show everything in your body first. So anything, like if your feet are hurting, there's a pain in the body. The feet are more sensitive, and they will show you in a map. You can just look on the internet. So if you start working your feet, and you don't have to know reflexology, you just have to know touch. And all you have to do is just start rubbing. Start with your toes, and then work your way down. If you're curious, look up a chart, in a reflexology chart, and see all those different areas that you're working. Oftentimes, just even coming up on your toes and just walking barefoot on your toes, you're massaging all the neck and the shoulders. So all those little things that you guys can do, soaking your feet and keeping them warm, and making them more pliable, because oftentimes we wear shoes all the time and we don't take them off to be able to feel the earth. And that's what grounding kind of is. Touching the earth can help you to ground, but grounding really is being present within your body. And oftentimes when we're walking barefoot on the beach or wherever we're walking, we are very present in our body. We're not tripping over our own 2 feet, we're here. And so grounding is one of the most important things that we can do for ourselves. And a lot of times people want to visualize, and I know that's the way that probably a lot of us were taught, visualize roots going into the ground. It's a great way to visualize. But we actually have to take that one step further, and you actually have to get in here. And when I mean get in here, it means feel. If you were thinking you're this great big spirit, you got to fit in this little body. And it's not comfortable sometimes. Sometimes when we get in here and we have to start feeling, and that's all part of the healing process, we have to feel. And feeling isn't always comfortable. So all the different things that we can do when things are uncomfortable, when you're trying to process a thought, an emotion, bring it back to breath. Breath is one of the most important things that we can do for ourselves, is to continue to keep breathing. And I'm not thinking just this little, we need to get into our belly. That's where we hold all of our emotion, is in our bellies. So through a lot of the, let's say, modalities that people will bring in breathwork, and they'll talk about breathwork. And as you breathe, let's do this together. If you guys were to take your hands and just place your hands on your belly, right over your belly button. Now try to breathe all the way down into your abdomen and push that belly out. You want to have a Buddha belly. Let it go. Because we don't want to hold that belly, and then exhale and bring your belly button towards your spine. And if you work with that, that is how we naturally are supposed to breathe. Babies breathe this way. And it's when we've stopped breathing, it's because we're holding an emotion. You think when we grew up, especially as women, suck that tummy in. Okay, we'll walk around holding our tummies. That's not cool. Because all that does is it causes bowel problems, it causes digestive issues. And again, we're holding it because we're scared and we're tense. And we have to let it go. We have to let all of the tension within the body go to be able to flow. Especially as we age, our hips get sore, our ankles get sore, because we aren't as active as we used to be. And as we get more moving again, especially in our older age, we have to keep our chakras moving and get everything to keep flowing, or we end up starting to be tense and cold. And I want to say cold is because oftentimes when we pull our energy in, we get cold. We need to just relax. And even for all of us, standing somewhere and just breathing. If you ever stood just by the river, put your hands on your belly and just breathe. Dogs do it all the time. They can sit and look at a river flowing for hours. And it's like, how did they do that? I can't stand here that long. But again, they come into their bodies. They come in and they notice what's going on in the world. And they breathe. And then you can see that their nose is just going and they're looking at everything. And when you sit and pay attention to what they're doing, it helps you realize, like, oh my gosh, look at all these, look what is actually out here. And how often do we actually ground ourselves to see what's out there? Especially in the Western world, we're always moving to the next things. What do we got to keep doing? We got to keep going. And we are really, truly meant to pay attention to the world, to pay attention to what is out there, and to bring love back in. And I know that's just a cliche kind of thing, but really, truly, that is totally the answer as to why we are here on this planet, is to hold the vibration of love. Because if we don't hold it, that next generation might not remember or might not even know what it is. Because oftentimes I think they have a hard time understanding what that whole heart chakra is for. And it is about being open both ways and being non-judgmental and understanding that we are all on our own journey. We can't change anybody, nor can we force anybody to do anything else. We have to learn to respect the boundaries, and oftentimes we cause our own problems by wanting to get into somebody else's junk and be in their business.
Yeah, to bring together several things that you've just touched upon.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to tell a very brief story about I was starting my holistic health practitioner training,
Mm-hmm.
and we were talking about energy from a distance and how it can help people ease their suffering. And I forgot to ask permission.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this guy that was obviously off his meds on the bus.
Mm-hmm.
And so the hero, wanted to ease the situation.
Yeah.
So I began talking to him in my mind and letting him know everything was fine. And he turned around and said, "What are you doing?"
Mm-hmm. And at that
Scared
point,
me to death.
yes, when you get caught. when you get
Just
caught.
scared us.
Permission is an amazing thing. It truly is. And I don't send unless people ask.
Yeah.
Or I will ask here. If I get no response, I know it's not my business.
Yeah.
But if I do get a response back, and again, we all are telepathic and we can work with other people. And you can call somebody in if you wish. They might not come, but you have to respect that. But if you want to have a conversation of, if you think about it, again, with an argument, something that you want to fix in your life, you can call that person in to have the conversation in your head. It's not unethical. If they come, cool. If they don't, you have to let it go. That's just the rules of the universe. We cannot force our opinions on anybody else, especially when you are telepathic or when you're psychic and you know it. You just can't do that. It's unethical. So even oftentimes I'll find myself with a client and I'm hearing all this stuff. It's like, oh, I don't need to hear all that. And it's because it's not my business. And I'll put my little earmuffs on and it's like, I'll just let that go to source because it's not my business. And even that's just something for all of us as we evolve to realize that we can't just go up and Reiki somebody. No, I can't do that. I would say maybe 15 years ago, I could very easily send a lot of Reiki. Things are different now. And there's a lot more aware people. And perhaps that's a learning for all of us, Naomi, is that, yeah, a long time ago when my husband was sick, I could help him.
Mm-hmm.
But it got to a point where I couldn't help him no more.
Mm-hmm.
And he was on his own journey at that point. There was just no way that I could have interfered with that journey. Source told me all the time, there's no way. Let him be what he needs to be. Let him do what he needs to do. And that is all about the cycle of life. We have to, even when death does come around, we have to respect it. And we have to respect them on their journey and let them go. And not hold them here, even with our animals. When they're ready to go, let them go. Let them go, because they can go to the other side and do more work. And I really do believe even the beautiful souls that we've lost in this town, they're all there. Oh my gosh, I know they're all there helping us. And they're all, because they couldn't do any more here. They were done on this plane. So for them to be able to leave and to be able to come back, and all the beautiful souls that I've had the blessings of being able to talk to after they've left, oh, I'm blessed, truly. And for them to, I know that they're here. And when they do pop in, it's kind of like, thank you for being here. Thank you for holding this space, because we all do it. There's a whole bunch of us in this town holding space. And yeah, I only pop out every once in a while because I'm quite happy where I'm at. And I have my crystals and I have my space. And I am there to hold space. I didn't plan to come here. I landed here. And when I landed here, everything, all of my stuff came with me. All my crystals, all of my grids, all of that stuff came with me. And landing here, not even knowing where this place was, magically landing here, it's all about a divine purpose, and I'm not alone here. And I know that we are all here to make a huge change in the future by just holding that vibration of love. So yeah, with that, I'll close. If there's any questions, truly, and I do have a copy of my book. I know I didn't talk a lot about the Reiki, but healing is healing. It doesn't have to be Reiki. And like I've shared why I've chosen it, because it's a God consciousness and I'm not going to cast a spell and hurt myself in other lifetimes. So that's why I've chosen that God consciousness, and it works. For me, it works. And so whatever journey that you're on, keep using your hands, keep using your heart, and continue to keep making the world a better place, because we all need it. We really do. And there's a couple copies of my book there, if you're interested. And I do have some business cards up there. I do treatments here.
What's
When
the
it
cost
happens.
of your book?
$5.
$5?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I wrote the book. I had a student that was coming. I was doing a research for her for Reiki, and she was in Cuenca, and then she changed her mind last minute. Well, I had everything ready because I hadn't taught in a couple of years. So all of the stuff that I had ready, I was like, okay, I'm just going to put it all into a book, because it was all a research. So in the book is a lot of experiences of what I've done with with Reiki, and just how I played with it over the years and what it's done for me. You know, it keeps me in line, and especially like when something's hurting on me, oh yeah, like the throat. I laughed when I realized it. It's like, oh yeah, the throat chakra. And if you look at the people living in the world, all the thyroid problems and things like that, yeah, that throat chakra that we haven't spoke our truth and we've been shut down, one or the other. Yeah, were you gonna say something?
Thank you for all that you shared. What other healing modalities do you use and how do they complement Reiki?
I do craniosacral, and craniosacral is a subtle movement of the fascia, as well as certain ligaments and joints using pressure, finger pressure, right? Craniosacral and Reiki go beautifully together. I do reflexology and Reiki go wonderfully together. I do massage. Again, Reiki goes beautiful with the massage. I do acupressure and all the little holistic therapies that I do. Reiki goes well. The only one that I don't do Reiki with is access bars. And it's just a different modality. And it does a lot of not pressure points, let's say trigger points or meridian points on the head. And it actually helps to get rid of a lot of those thoughts that are holding us back. So it does a lot to slow the mind down and to get rid of the mind clutter, if you want to look at that. And Reiki doesn't seem to flow the same way. So that's cool. I don't have to control that. I just let it happen. That's really, does that answer your question? Yeah.
What was that called?
Craniosacral. Oh, the access bars. Access bars.
Bars.
Yeah. If you look on the internet, it's called access consciousness.
Okay.
And you can see access bars under that. Interesting modality.
Yeah, I've not heard of
Yeah,
that.
check it out.
Completely cured me of a cat allergy
I can believe
when
that.
I wanted to move into a group home where they had 2 cats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's another lady in town that does
Excellent.
access bars as well. So there are a few of us that do it here.
And where are you practicing? Where's your studio?
I practice out of my home. I have a yurt. So in my yurt, I have my table, my crystals, and everything that I do. So
And where is that?
in Kukanama. I'm in Kukanama, Bajo. So I work off my property. Yeah.
And you're also online, right?
I'm online. I am on Facebook. I also have a Patreon channel. I am a yoga instructor. I've taught in town before. And I needed more freedom in my life, so I have been recording videos and putting them up on Patreon. So I have a whole bunch of, I've got about 40 yoga videos up on Patreon. There are some free ones there, meditation and yoga, and then there's a couple different little levels that have more advanced yoga that you can buy. So that's on Patreon, and it's Wendy Jean Holistics. And so if you need to get a hold of me, if you have questions, like I truly am very open to be able to answer questions. Send me a message, because it's not about the money. It's about finding your way. I really truly believe that. And it's more about me helping people find their way. Ask the questions. I have a wealth of knowledge in here, and I'm connected, and I know that. And so to be able to step into that and know it, it's very cool. And I look forward to helping so many more people step into that, because my gosh, we are divine humans. We have more than 5 senses. And just to be able to go forward with all those is an amazing, amazing thing. So are there any other questions?
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy.